All right, we are live. It is Friday, the last Friday of May, May 30th. Can you believe we're already like at the doorstep of June? Where did 2025 go? I'm a bit distraught. Mostly because I got my teeth just completely wrecked yesterday. But anyway, this is Friday, a little afternoon Eastern. And you know what that means. It means it's a small biz breakdown time. And I am not here by myself. Thank goodness. I got some smart people around me. Some questionable, but most of them are really smart. And there's a lot of smartness out in Oregon here. I only say that because Leland from Oregon is a rather smart guy.
Hey, Brent. Thank you for the compliment. It's beautiful over here. I got the pool for the kids all set up this week. Been working on that. It's perfect weather over here.
Pool weather, huh?
Pool weather.
Nice. Let's see if it's pool weather in our nation's wait, am I? Yeah, I better go. I'm going to Medina. I'm trying to make sure I go west to east here. And Medina is a little further west than some of these other places. And it's a magical place from where I hear. It's a really nice place. And we hear that from Madam Mike Drop herself, straight from Medina, even a Taylor.
Yay, great to see you guys again. I missed you all. Hope everyone had a wonderful holiday weekend.
We missed you too.
Mm-hmm.
You know who we didn't miss because he was here last week, but we kind of maybe missed him between last week and this week. All the way from our nation's capital where there's, some stuff going on. Shashi. Hey, Shashi.
Hey, everybody. I think the uncertainty at the national's capital also hit our weather. So the weather is also very uncertain. It was hot and then it started raining. But I do have to say, the opinions expressed in this show are mine and not mine.
Wow. Shashi, are you getting ready to run for something? Turn straight politician on us on that one. All right. Speaking of right, we're going right to New Jersey and in the New York area, where I hear New Jersey is some kind of capital of the world. What is that, Ramon? What kind of capital you got?
For the 10th time, Brent, New Jersey is the vacation capital of the world. I'll stop there. I can go on and explain it if you like. Would you like me to continue?
No, not really.
Okay.
That's
Good to see you, Brent. Good to see you. Even good to see you.
I hope to remember that next Friday, but I guess I probably won't. But you'll be here to let us know.
Yes, sir.
And finally, what do they call it? Last but certainly least, I'll let that kick in a little bit. The cold one. Some call him the bold one. I like to call him the old one. It is John Colder Ice Lawson back from vacation. I don't know what the hell that means, but
What's up?
Wait a minute. Where do the balloons come from?
Because I'm so good.
I had such a
welcome back, John.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll put up with you for the next.
No welcome from the host, but that's great.
I gave you plenty of welcome.
Oh my God.
Welcome to go back on vacation. No, I'm just kidding. I got to be nicer about this. It's it's Friday. All right. So I do have a little something in store, but as usual, got a lot of economic news like the last 2 days. Pretty good, actually. Inflation, almost nothing, like 0.1. I think it was expected to be 0.2. So that's good. Seems like we had some good news as well on, stock market. Another great week. Got some great earnings reports that came in. One from NVIDIA. And if you want to know what the kind of the heartbeat or the pulse of the AI world is, that's a pretty good place to start. They killed it. Yep. So pretty good news. Pretty good news. What do you guys think? Leland, how was the week?
Week's been I haven't really been paying too much attention. So I guess that means that there's not a lot of news. I mean, yeah, when there's bad news, there's a lot of good reporting on it and people are in panic and stuff like that. So my guess is that if there's not a lot of bad news, then there's probably some good news. So that's my look at it. So That's how I see it. Hopefully we got some good news.
Well, we
And as from what you've said, yeah, we got some good news.
even.
Yes.
What's going on this week? Do you feel pretty good about things this week?
I have actually started a little summer project, and it's called "What Happens When I Try to Contact All 4,000 of My LinkedIn Contacts and Try to Rebuild Those Relationships."
Wow.
And so I've been in that process, and I will be reporting on that as time goes on. But so far, everyone I've talked to has either been a solopreneur or has been a marketing person and is selling to other small business owners.
Okay.
Right? And so it has not been happy news on the micro business front, at least from the folks that I've, since it's all anecdotal. But you're asking me how it is and what I see in terms of reporting versus the conversations, the very, very open and honest conversations that I've been having, just like do not match my Facebook stream.
Really? So like real world conversations versus what you're seeing on your stream. A tale of two stories here.
A tale of two stories. Mm-hmm.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. No,
Yeah.
I didn't mean to go all Dickinson on you, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, but and again, just so anecdotal. This is in like one or two. I am not speaking for everybody because I know that folks like Ramon, folks like yourself, maybe even Leland, I think if you're interacting with more enterprise type organizations, you're not going to hear the kind of pain that I'm hearing.
Oh, pain, like real pain, like they don't know if they're going to be around in business next year kind of pain?
Pain like people are living off their savings pain.
Oh, wow. Oof. Shashi, how do you follow that up? How do you see this week?
401ks are no longer a cause for concern, right? Like now, at least, there's some stability there. In general, the talk about the economy in the people that I talk to is actually much less than it was. But I do listen to some of these shows where definitely small businesses don't know what to do. If I raise prices, will I lose business and the tariffs all come down and my customers have gone somewhere? Yes, I'm hearing a little bit of that. But there's a little bit of a sense of relief that we're not being hit on all sides, right? I think the biggest panic across the board was everybody's wealth, at least the 52% that invest their savings in stocks. Really were panicking. I think that's become a little stable.
Just a little quick follow-up. Do you see that as a kind of a short-term feeling of security, or do they think, oh, the worst is past us and we're on to better days?
I don't know. I guess depending on when you're going to retire, right? Like if you are going to retire in the next 3 years, I think I'm not a financial analyst, but if I was in that position, I'd probably shift everything away from stocks just to be safe. Right?
Interesting. All right, Ramon.
Hey, yeah, three things. If I remember the three things I want to share with you, Brent, and team here, co-host, is one, to Even's point, all of us are in a microcosm in our version of the world, and people are suffering. And as I shared with you all pretty openly, I've had a season of slowness in my own business the past few years, post-COVID, still kind of digging out, figuring who I am. So that's one. Number two, a totally opposite anecdote. One of my friends has a logistics company. He ships goods from the U.S. to Fiji. The people there's big millions or whatever the number is of Fijians here. In Fiji, they want to order something from Amazon. How do you get it to Fiji? You ship it to his warehouse. He'll do it. And there's tons of businesses like that for Jamaica, Philippines, all over the world. So point is, he just bought a truck, Ford F-150 for, less than $5,000 used. He raised his prices in his shipping business. Nobody batted an eye. So you go figure, check out the pocket of people you're talking to. one person's hurting, and they are. Lauren Feldman's 21 Hats talks about his people who have the shipping containers. Tariff issue is no joke for them, but yet a whole nother business in logistics, shipping stuff to Fiji. He raised his prices. He still has customers. So that's number 2. Number 3, in my own business, Brent and team here, I'm just experimenting with, I have one of my lines of revenue where I'm working with the brands, as we all do. But another line of my revenue, I'm testing Facebook ads. And I'm saying, you know what? And John Lawson's me kind of on this journey to a degree, testing Facebook ads and saying, let me take my own, take the reins of my own destiny, where I can see 10,000 people opt in, 0.01 clicked. That I can more control than waiting for somebody to say, Ramon, we'll hire you to speak at our event. So I know there's a lot, but I hope that was adding some context or helped someone.
That was very helpful, because you know what that kind of makes me believe? If the AdWords thing doesn't really work out that well, you can always blame John.
See,
there's always a positive spin there.
John, I'm thinking he's like, if it doesn't work out, this is good. He set it up.
I said it. I stand on it.
Oh, John.
Speaking of,
Brent. Do you owe Brent money, John? Like, are you guys 2 brothers and you took away his inheritance years ago? I mean, you got to tell us something's going on here.
No, I just don't like him. That's all.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we can see that.
Speaking of the cold one, the bold one, he's just back from vacation. But what's going on? How do you see the week? Was it good, bad? You were too busy having fun to even think about it?
Well, yeah, you know what? I was pretty unplugged for the week, which was good. And, if you don't listen, nothing's happening.
That's
So
right.
there you go.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If you fly on a private jet versus commercial, and I'm sure you've never flown on a private jet, but for those of us that live that life,
Just a regular thing, so.
the difference in turbulence on a small vehicle versus a large vehicle, and how you experience that, can be, very telling. And I think what we see in some of the small business markets and what we're hearing in, Wall Street markets. So the difference between Main Street and Wall Street is the difference between a private jet and a commercial jet. We're all flying through the turbulence, but if you got a big, ship, you're probably not feeling the waves as much, the disturbances as much as the smaller ship is. That does not mean that won't come at the expense of the, larger ship at some point, because we are the driver of these enterprise level, it's only so long that enterprise can be doing, hey, we're doing X amount and we're growing in that, and then small businesses not, because at some point these small business usually are the clients of the enterprise. So I think you got to look at what's happening on one level to understand and project what's about to happen on the other. And so I think that's kind of where we are right now. And that's how I'm feeling.
Sounds like you're still kind of status quo in terms of overall thoughts about what's going on. Nothing
Pretty
really.
much, I'll tell you, really one thing that was interesting is I spoke to a young lady. She does a annual show, right? And she is in, how do you, I don't, they got so many, sexual wellness. That's the new term. All right. So she's in the sexual wellness category. And amazingly, how much her show has been impacted because of tariffs. Because you figure, hey, these are small electronic devices. And most of those are made in China and imported. And they're feeling, a lot of uncertainty in that market. And it's affecting how people come and display at her show and things like that. So it's just like, it was an interesting conversation I was having about an industry I wasn't even on my radar at the time.
What's her website again, John? You didn't say what's the website again? I'm going there right now, brother. Right now. You got a discount?
You are, yeah.
I'm just thinking about total value and lowest total cost. And how, even though that price can go up, there could be some value there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And that's another thing, too. There's always opportunity. There's always opportunity.
And a niche market. There's always one more thing. I did want to say one thing, Brent, as well. The other thing I was looking at, Joanna Stern, Wall Street Journal, did an amazing 3 to 4 minute movie using just Google's, what's the name again? Everybody Google the new.
VO.
Yeah.
Yep. And then using Runway. And again, I think John even has done this for, months or years. This video, text to video is not new, but it's amazing. When I saw her video, it looks like a ghetto, cheap Pixar level movie. She broke down, just kind of as like 3 to 5 minute video. She broke down how she did it. I'm not going to do that because I don't have the time, and it's just I'd rather hire somebody to do it cheaply. But just seeing how she did it, I'm like, good, got it. I understand what she did. She's like, yeah, did this, went to Midjourney, did this, and here's my movie. I mean, stuff you'd see on Disney. So it's just that is continuing to amaze. I know we all know that, but it's just amazing between Notebook LM, I think it is, and all those tools. They're getting better and better and faster and easier.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. I'm glad I didn't have to follow up the discussion from the cold one, the bold one. So thank you for that, Ramon.
I have a question for John. Did you go outside the country or your vacation was within the country?
Yeah, I went to St. Martin. Nice island.
So
Very nice.
Did they say welcome home when you came back?
When I came back, I got you're expired, don't come in this line again.
Oh,
global entry.
Yeah. Okay. I think we've
my express entry was expired, and I was in the wrong line.
You're back. That's probably what I said.
I'm glad they didn't make you go to a new line. I've been like sometimes the airlines are getting really strict. Some people, poor lady, I'm like, ma'am, it says platinum flyers. Oh, I didn't understand it. Go back there. I'm like, oh, they didn't play. They didn't say, you're here already. No.
Yeah, I got lucky. He was nice.
Yeah, very nice. All right, let's move on. I have a kind of a trivia question for you. Okay, yeah, I think I do actually. So I mentioned a little earlier that companies like Salesforce and NVIDIA, their earnings reports were out this week. In particular, NVIDIA, everybody was kind of looking at that. So I want to show you. This comes from the NVIDIA financial stuff. Now, NVIDIA, I'm sure some of you folks know, before they became the AI kings, they were really all about gaming and graphics cards. And this is only 3 years ago, 2022. NVIDIA, I think their annual revenue, 26 billion, not bad. Look at Intel, just 3 years ago, 63 billion. AMD, the third competitor in the semiconductor stuff, 23. So as you can see, Intel was huge. They were the kings just 3 years ago, before the Chat GPT era kicked in.
Mm-hmm. Intel inside, and AMD, they've been respectable. Mm-hmm. And then NVIDIA was really, they were most of the Intel and AMD are CPUs, NVIDIA GPUs. So that was just 3 years ago. Not even 3 years ago, but 2022. Okay, so I said this week, NVIDIA came out with their earnings. So how do you expect NVIDIA's number to go from 26,974 to what they announced just this week? Give me a guess as to how much you think their revenues are now.
I don't know. What is that? 26,000
billion.
No, that's billion.
26 billion.
Yeah.
It's if you look up in the paragraph before, it says dollars in the millions.
So that means billion. All these numbers really 26 billion, 63 billion, 23 billion.
Holy moly.
All right. So that was 2022.
So 1.1 trillion.
No, I'm not saying market cap. I'm saying actual
what are you
revenue.
asking?
150 billion. 150 billion.
Revenue. Okay, so Nvidia. So Ramon is in at 150 billion. Who else wants to step up and take a guess?
I'm close. I was
75
gonna
billion.
I was gonna say it was greater than Intel and AMD put together in 2022. So Ramon, you had 150.
That would be more like 86 if you put them.
Yeah, I
together.
know, and that's why I like what Ramon said. I'm gonna say 96.
90s.
Although
not
I
46.
kind of think that's low, but that's what I'm gonna say.
Well, I'm gonna say 110. That's what I was trying to put my
Okay.
head around.
He was waiting for you to say what your guess was, and then he put his.
No, it was 1.1 trillion, but you're saying it's one.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
whatever.
so
110.
you got 110. Even it's got 92.
96.
96. Okay, and then Ramon has what again?
150.
150. All right, Shashi. No, I mean Leland.
Okay, I'll do 75 billion because I know that AMD does both graphics cards and processors. They're kind of like a mix between Nvidia and Intel.
Yeah.
They got their own graphics card line. Intel has tried to do their own graphics card. They suck. They've never been able to get them off the ground. But AMD's got that mix, and I would imagine that AMD has risen to kind of beat Intel a little bit based off of what I've seen.
Well, like you said, they do CPUs and GPUs. So Intel really, like you said, only CPUs. It's called like
their ARC graphics cards don't sell like hotcakes. Not near where AMD and Nvidia sell at.
All right. So we got. Is that everybody? Or
Shashi
still has to get in there. Okay.
Leland, what was your number?
I said 75.
75. I'm going to go 189. But the story here is very interesting. Like when all the companies were doing CPUs, NVIDIA started off with GPUs mainly for gaming.
Yep.
Suddenly one fine day, I think Jensen Huang or whoever woke up one day and said like, hey, these chips actually are very good for AI. And that's how they really shot up, right? So, and before you tell me if my answer is right or wrong, the way I calculated it was they were almost a $2 trillion company. So if it is 10 times valuation, that's how I'm calculating.
No, now they're a $3 trillion company. But all right, so we're all locked in.
Yep.
All right. Remember your guesses. Now the answer: 130 billion. And look, Intel has actually gone down 10 billion. And AMD has relatively stayed the same. So all the gains really are from GPUs, and we know who the king of the GPU is and why they're so important to AI. All the gains have come from one company.
If you all are wondering how I got my guess, you can ask me now or just after the show. Whenever you want to ask me, you can ask me.
Well, you said 150, right?
Yeah, I was closer than anybody.
You were the closest. Wow. You're just barely.
No,
closer.
he wasn't. What kind of math do you guys do?
Wait a minute. What did you say? 110?
Yeah, I mean, get over
all right.
yourself.
So you guys are even.
No, but Brett,
no,
you
it's actually because it's 497 million.
Oh, yeah.
That skews it to Ramon. So
Thank
you were wrong, Colder Ice.
No, he's over. I'm under.
This is not Bob Barker. My name
right.
ain't Bob Barker. This ain't The Price is Right.
Damn it.
And hey, Brent, can I just do one more thing? Just I didn't know really the difference between a CPU and a GPU, so I just Googled it real quick, just for our audience listening. CPU, as you all know, but I didn't realize the depths of it. CPU is great for handling general purpose computing tasks, where Intel Rain for the PC and all those kind of things. GPU, specialized for parallel processing, more core, complex tasks, mathematical, etc. So I just wanted to throw that out there for those who may CPU, GPU. I didn't really get the difference, but GPUs clearly are more expensive, maybe more pricier, more detailed computing thingamajiggy. So just wanted to share that.
It's really interesting because GPUs are more straightforward. They just compute numbers. When you have CPUs, Intel developed a special way of computing the bits in order to be able to do guesses and do predictive strategies, to be able to kind of accelerate, especially back in the day when computing power was not very good. And that really messes with AI, and it messes with like Bitcoins and stuff like that. With those algorithms, you need something straightforward. Same thing with graphics, you need something very straightforward, and that's where GPUs come in. And that's why you don't see people crypto mining on a CPU, they don't, or AI on a CPU, or gaming, God forbid, on a CPU, because it doesn't do good when it comes to the straightforward mathematical computations. It's
Didn't I
more
just say that,
for like,
Leland? Didn't I just say what you just said? Didn't I just say that? That's exactly what I just said.
I'm just giving the computer scientist,
No, I didn't say
because
that.
I did a 4-year degree on this. I'm going to use it,
Oh,
damn.
damn.
My man. Okay. I see the throne, man. Good job, Leland. Good job. Thank you.
Thanks for the explanation, Leland, and Ramon too. We like
Oh,
that.
yes.
You know, and you are the winner this week, so you know, despite what some people think, you know. And so it sounds like, given the response to the NVIDIA earnings call, AI is going pretty strong still. It's still hitting all the gears. But is that a good thing? Because I have a little video clip of the CEO and founder of Anthropic saying that, yeah, that's all was kind of good, but it might cost like 1 in 5 jobs in the next 5 years. So he was actually on with Anderson Cooper talking about this. And here's what he had to say.
You've said that AI could wipe out half of all entry-level white-collar jobs and spike unemployment to 10 to 20%. How soon might that happen?
You know, I've been building AI for over a decade, and I think maybe the most salient feature of the technology and what is driving all of this is how fast the technology is getting better. A couple of years ago, you could say that AI models were maybe as good as a smart high school student. I would say that now they're as good as a smart college student, and sort of reaching past that. I really worry, particularly at the entry level, that the AI models are you know, very much at the center of what an entry level human worker would do. But I think what is striking to me about this AI boom is that it's bigger and it's broader and it's moving faster than anything has before. And so I'm a little bit more worried about the labor impact, simply because it's happening so fast that yes, people will adapt, but they may not adapt fast enough, and so there may be an adjustment period.
You know, he was telling him what he thought was the truth because he started stuttering and stammering at the worst the news got. That he was, but pretty sobering, maybe not. What do you guys think of what he said?
One thing I'll say, Brent, is that it's just, you think about it, him talking right there on CNN. Again, I've never been on broadcast TV behind, but y'all get the point I'm trying to make here, is that before you have the producer listening to what they're saying, it goes to the feed, does this and any other. But how fast this is going, by the time he's done, blog post on CNN.com in real time with graphics. So that's an example just right there. Him and Anderson Cooper talking, that, I think we need that, you know, whatever. But man, today they have a team of 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever people doing that. That's a good example right there. When that man's done talking, CNN.com, great article, blog post, the proper clip, lower thirds, everything done. Bots can do it all right now.
So what do you think about what he said about the lack of or loss of employment?
Absolutely. That's what I meant. I mean, scale that times. And you talk about the big companies, right? The bigger companies, they are already doing this. They are already doing this. Go ahead, John.
No, I mean, they've been saying this from the beginning, and nobody took them seriously. And I just think what we're seeing now is it's like, it's even surprising the people that thought that, it's like we already knew that there was going to be this, you know, huge increase in intelligence and all of that, and now it's like, oh shit, it's really happening. This is about to happen. I think that's really, it's like the wake-up call is not, you know what, the call is coming from inside the house. That's how I'm feeling.
I mean,
Go ahead, Shashi.
go ahead, Leila.
All right. So I'll take a less pessimistic side of this because over the last 40 years we've had a technological revolution, and going from the end of the 70s all the way to now, you have companies and they relatively maintain the same number of people, even maybe even having more employees, even though we have computers that now can do 5 times, make it so that these employees can make 5 times the amount of work done. And I remember a statistic, and gosh, I wish I would have saved it or something like that, but it said that the number of employees hasn't shrunk, but the amount of work that an employee does compared to their counterpart 40 years ago has greatly increased. And it's not that these people are working harder or longer hours, they just have the technological tools to be able to do a lot more work. And so if a company, especially like bigger ones like Microsoft or IBM or something like that, can have the same number of employees and get 10 times the amount of work done, they're going to keep the same number of employees, get a lot more work done, and be able to potentially sell more widgets, doodads, or that's something. Yes, there may be some adjustment periods. You get the overzealous manager saying, I could just have AI do that. And then all of a sudden AI is churning out garbage, and you really do need to have someone check all of the work that AI comes and brings out to make sure that, something that would make the company look bad, if a false claim or something like that were to get through. You don't want that. You want to make sure that everything's checked. You're still going to need human components, but it allows workers to be able to get a lot more work done, which means potentially more profits.
Let's take a question from one of our audience guests, Ramon Ray. He says, but this is so different, Leland, in my honest opinion. Nothing has quite replaced the human mind like AI has. It's beyond just the tools. Yeah. Leland, that one's for you.
Know what? But I think Leland does have a point. I remember, at the beginning of the computer age in the 80s, everybody was saying that computers are going to take our jobs, right? And we're not going to have anything to do. We're going to have 3-day work weeks, all of this stuff. And it didn't happen. Like what Leland's saying is we've got more capabilities and they give us more things to do. And I honestly believe that I used to work less in the 80s than I do now. Maybe it was harder work, more pen paper kind of thinking, but I didn't put in as many hours.
Yeah, let me just throw a little
constantly as I
something
do
in there,
today.
because that's something that I don't even remember what the guy's name is, but the CEO from Anthropic said that kind of separates what's going on with AI from like some of the other technological developments over the last decades. This stuff is taking information and autonomously doing things. A lot of the technology that we had, great technology that's come over in decades, it wasn't doing that. It was allowing us to be more productive and allow us to, maybe get more things done. This stuff is actually, particularly when they get to general artificial intelligence, this stuff is they're trying to make it so that it actually acts on its own, like completely autonomous, which means you don't need us for certain things, not even for direction. That's where some of this stuff is going. So this is I think it's a little different than some of the past technology stuff that we've gone through.
Yeah, Leland and John, and then please, even on Shashi, but Leland and John, I do think that this is different. Again, we'll see in 6 months and a year. And I get your point, but even a fax machine, it was more of a time thing. Typewriter is a time thing. Computers, it's in my opinion a time thing. But when you think about
answer machine, think about answering machines.
Yeah, okay.
Think about that. That actually changed an entire industry.
Sure.
It removed people having to sit there and answer the phone. Right. What happened to those people?
Yeah. Well, what happened to the answer machine after a while?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But won't that also open up a whole new, it will open up completely new jobs that we don't even know anything about.
Sure,
and
yes.
it occurs to me, we are all such lovely, ethical human beings that we forget that Yeah, right. We forget that, like, we had computers, but then with computers came all kinds of malware. And so this whole industry was born out of that. We don't yet know what kind of additional talents and skills are going to be brought to light by AI. And I keep saying this, I think we forget, and we can argue about what true creativity versus innovation versus invention is, but the human mind and our ability to become smarter, and Lord knows we need to become smarter. I think that's what the deal is. It doesn't feel like we are smarter. We don't read like heavy duty things like I know I don't. I used to read some heavy stuff. I used to process a lot of information that required critical thinking. And I already see with my writing, screens require a certain type of writing, shorter sentences, shorter words for shorter attention spans and smaller areas, right? So I still think we haven't discovered yet the new jobs and technologies that are going to come from that. There's a whole new skill set you have to have in order, like right now, I think of it as a Venn diagram, right? There is this idea of being an expert and knowing things in your field, right? Like a doctor is an expert. So you have cardiologists, you have whatever, they know things in their field, and that is a skill set and they can practice that. There's another circle over here, the sphere of having process knowledge. So you can know what it is to be a doctor, but then it's almost like the coach, right? Like understanding how a doctor thinks and how a doctor diagnoses and like all the little processes that go on that this expert is like virtually unaware of because it just like is happening. So I think of the expert as like a LeBron James, a performer, an athlete at a high level. And I think of this process person like a coach. It's totally different skill set, right? And then you've got what I call developers. These are the people who take these two things and like bring them to light. In order to really understand how AI works, then you've got to, like, these have typically not had a lot of overlap. But I'm seeing that this new skill set, at least from my observation and my point of view, is going to require almost like 60 to 80% overlap. Like if you truly want to function in a business that has embraced AI, you've got to be able to integrate those three. I don't have three hands. I need another hand. Those three spheres of expertise.
Man, we have a really lively comment section going on. Thanks,
Ramon talking to himself.
It's probably Ramon's AI writing those comments.
I can be so spitfire, so I don't want to keep cutting in. So I'm using the comments to release my agitation at you all. Shashi, please go ahead.
And also the algorithm will actually now say like, this is a very lively conversation and it has a few people listening to it still, right?
We ought to shout out Manuel Yarnaris for applauding.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's interesting. I listen to all of you and I'm just thinking like there's a lot of scare tactics with AI, right? Whether it's AI or other things, all the jobs are going to keep changing. For example, 3 years ago, I was telling my son, like, you don't need a driver's license. There will be autonomous cars. So you want to go somewhere where there's no school bus at that time, just say something and a car is going to come. It's going to become cheap. Nobody's going to own cars, right? Now, that is going to disrupt a whole lot of industries like your servicing, your car insurance, and all of those industries. And nothing to stop that. It will keep on happening. And there are no elevator operators anymore, right? Very soon, there won't be any Uber drivers. It'll all be... So things will keep changing. But it doesn't mean that we have to say like, oh my God, tomorrow I'm not going to have a job. When I had a team, I always used to tell them, if your job is something that you can write down in a piece of paper, here's what you do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then I need to ship it off somewhere where it is cheaper and it will get done faster. And you have to be more creative and think about the big picture on of what business we are in. So if I have to give an advice to anybody who's scared about AI, it will be like, think about your job and see if you're replaceable.
All right, let me
If you are
amp that up. Let me amp that up a little bit.
Yeah.
Think about, as a small business, think about your small business, not just your job. All right. So what should small businesses be doing today? If before they were thinking, oh, this is not going to happen. Oh, it's going to happen a decade from now. After that conversation with that guy, and after what you all just bang-beat around here, what, and if you're advising small businesses, what are you telling them that have been like, oh, I'm not worried about this? What are you telling them now?
In my opinion, I think for the owners, it's a massive opportunity. For the owners, it's a massive opportunity. How can I do more with less? I think number two, even if you want to be good to your employees or your freelancers, hey, here's where it's going. We're all level playing field. It's up to you now to have the opportunity to see how you can keep serving me leveraging these tools. So that's what I would say. I think the opportunity for the owner. Yeah.
You have to do something that's different from everybody else. Like if you're a small business owner and your business was driving a cab in New York, there are still cabs in New York, right? But there are things that people use for, so you got to find your niche and say, here's where I'm going to go. And all said and done, AI will make you efficient. Like you never replied to any of the emails your customers sent you. Now you're going to do that within your own time. I think we should take it with a grain of salt, what he said, like entry-level jobs, and the tech bros will always talk about tech jobs, which means that software engineers are going to be doing more of junior software engineers' work because AI will make it easy for them.
Shashi, I think you're absolutely wrong, Shashi. What do we know sitting here today? But I'm just sorry, man. And again, we talked to similar people, but I was at a dinner with some friends who work there, the engineers, senior engineers working at all the companies whose software we use. A lot of them happen to be Indian, right? And they were just saying, what's going on? Not behind the scenes. Like I know, you all know the same thing I know, but I'm just trying to express my fun, strong opinion. Sorry, these guys are talking about, man, the stuff that we'd hire people, have engineering teams or do this. We are literally seeing how we can do boop, boop, boop with 100 people, 50 people. So I don't know. I think jobs will shift. I think jobs will shift, but I just don't know, man, if it's like, it'll be okay. No, I do think the 20,000, 100,000, 50,000, 10,000 people at the big companies, United, all these companies, month by month, quarter by quarter, they're like, we need less and less. Sorry.
But we need more plumbers.
Yeah, those guys never.
Sure.
As long as you're taking a dump, there's going to need somebody to push it down the drain.
We have done, I don't usually get this opinionated about things, but I think we have done a huge disservice to a lot of young people over the last 40 years by playing down the value of
that was the reality 5 years ago.
It was the reality and there were still a lot of baby boomers and young Xers out there who were doing that work. But I had seen a huge drop of business ownership where business owners who had plumbing companies, HVAC companies, landscaping companies, building companies have retired and had no one to sell that business to, or have had no one to hand that business over to. When I have seen them bring in, let's say, apprentices or whatever, when they send the kid out to the truck to get something, the guy's like in my kitchen going, man, like they're not picking it up or like whatever. They're not invested in learning, and there are huge opportunities out there. And I'm thinking, this is horrible to say, not everybody should be a business owner, really.
Why is that horrible?
Because I feel like a lot of our mission is to like really encourage entrepreneurs and such. And yet at the same time, I see a lot of folks where I'm like, you need to get a job.
Yeah.
And
you're right.
So there's a place for all kinds of people. We may not know what that is just yet.
I think, Ramon, I don't think I disagreed with you. What I'm saying is, wherever jobs, like for example, if a software engineer's job is like, hey, you create all these object modules and everything. I mean, today I'm actually creating a few web pages where I would have actually go to somebody else. So don't be in a profession that is going to be disrupted.
But Shashi, for the next 13 minutes, if you could disagree with me, I prefer you to disagree with me. I prefer to have a fight. So please don't be agreeable during the show, please.
So I'm going to say this.
WWC.
I'm going to
I love
say
you,
this.
Shashi.
I'm just going to put this in on the record, and we can revisit it 2-3 years later.
Okay.
But honestly, I believe that SaaS supported or SaaS businesses are in big trouble. Because what's happening with AI, one of the greatest things that it's able to duplicate and do is code.
That's right.
And all of these, businesses that have these SaaS products, I don't need to take my business and make my processes work so that I could use your tool so it flows the way your tool wants my process to flow so that I could use your tool to help make my processes better. What's about to happen and is already starting to happen is everybody's going to have business tools that they've created
Yes.
that are done customized in-house, and I don't need to go outside for your tool because I just had ChatGPT build it yesterday. And now this is what we use, and this is the workflow. And anytime we have a change, we tell the AI, hey, we need this new thing to happen. And I really believe there is going to be a huge change in employers and employment, but the people that think they're safe are the ones that are actually in a lot of trouble.
Who do
I
you
think they see it too.
Who do you think feels like they're safe? Because I don't. I'm seeing less and less people feel like that.
Well, the talking heads.
There's a lot of
heads.
them.
The ones
I'm
that sit around.
I'm glad my show is called Talking Headless.
Talking headless. There you go. Because I mean, a lot of these people really think that it's just such a wild west, and until it gets released into the public, we really don't know exactly what it's going to do.
Exactly,
because it has so much capability that just
both
because
good and
you
bad.
designed it to do, we just don't know what it's going to do.
So let me jump in a little bit because about maybe this is before the pandemic or in the midst of it. I did a conversation with the CEO of a company called Creatio, who is CRM and business process management and workflow and all that kind of stuff. And 6 or 7 years ago, she gave me this stat. It said, right now, companies needing applications built, they needed 7 years ago, they were needing 25 million applications built that they didn't have any people to build because there just weren't enough coders. Now I'm not hearing that conversation anymore because they've already figured this, what you just talked about. They already figured it out and have been doing this for years. So, like Zoho is one that we all know. They have been working on that for like 5 years. And that's one of the reasons why Sridhar Vembu, who is co-founder and was the CEO for like 20 something years, he became the chief scientist just to work on this specific idea of how do we get more code built using AI and how, and that, that's just one. So I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right. This has been going on for years. And you've seen where that 25 million has been coming down and down. And it's not because there are more coders. It's because of AI and for companies that are using these vibe coding kind of things to get this done. Even coders that are experienced, they're using this stuff to be more efficient with it. But it also opens up a whole other group of people to be able to talk to code. So where does that put small businesses? Because I don't think everybody's going to want to do that, or maybe they'll be able to pay for it, like I think Ramon was saying, which
That's
I think
exactly
is
right.
right.
Yep.
But even with, and I think going even back to what Eva says, we still don't know what all this actually means until we actually see it. We can theorize about all this stuff, and from a theoretical standpoint, oh yeah, this sounds good, it sounds logical. But we all know damn well there's a lot of people involved with this stuff, even if it's not as many as it was before. And whenever you have people involved, nothing goes the way we think it's going to go. So how could you put something really important in the hands of this right now? I don't want like a doctor, AI being my primary doctor. I want my doctor to work with AI to give me a better outcome and experience. But certain things I just don't see ever getting turned over.
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
And this is a good question. All right. If, and I get it. Right now, I don't want a AI doctor. But at some point, when it becomes very apparent that AI is doing better than actual real doctors, are you still going to have that opinion?
Make sure this machine, I don't know what goes on. Right about this time, I start getting weird CPU stuff. I'm gonna have to get a new machine. Anyway, I think for a vast majority of things, you're right. That's gonna happen. But there are certain things I don't know if I'll ever be very comfortable with when it comes to AI all by itself handling. There's a human in the loop thing, even if it's you only need the human for like 1% of the loop.
It's like pilots in the airplane.
Yeah.
I only need you just for that 1-2%.
But you still need it.
Time, but it feels good.
And you know what? Also,
Let's remember, people, forget putting, I don't know what the stats are, but whether it's medical or driving cars, a lot of stuff goes wrong a high percent of the time, I believe, even in the medical industry. So to John's point-ish, it's like as AI gets better and better, I can see a time when it's like 1 out of 10 million people were fine. AI messed up once, they'll get their few million, mourn the loss of their granddad that AI gave them too much insulin, and we'll move on. But the greater is better than the greater positivity of life going on, right. The minimal a few times, just like, you know, again, everybody's the headlines, the autonomous vehicles and shutting down this test and that test. I get it. But we all know X years, X months, it's going to be the norm. And we'll hear the headline, hey, AI went rogue and hit a little puppy. Google paid them 10 million and moved on. It just, you know, it's going to be normal.
Sorry about that little puppy, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, poor puppy. Oh, but yeah,
this is actually.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say this has already actually been studied a little bit. AI that a group did study. They grabbed a bunch of patients and they gave them to doctors. They gave them to AI, and then they also gave them to doctors who were utilizing AI. Doctors, 70 some odd percent got it right. AI, 90% in that range got it right. AI with doctors back to the 74% because the doctors thought they knew better than the AI.
Yeah, but that's good. I hope they continue doing that study every year because I'm guessing once doctors really get used to using AI,
that's true.
That third number, that third with doctors with AI, that's the one that's gonna go up significantly.
It's like Google Maps, meaning we don't have arguments in our car anymore. The mapping system is so correct. It's like, no, if Google said go left, we are going to be 3 minutes early. It knows everything. There's no need trying to, my route, we can save 7 minutes going to no, you don't know anything. Google knows everything in your mapping system. So
you know what?
There's no shortcuts.
I'll disagree with you on one city.
Okay.
And Shashi probably knows this. DC. It's not built like any other city. It will get you lost trying to go on Google or Apple or whatever. It says you're 7 lefts away because they don't know about them damn, big, huge circles. And oh my God, anyway, I digress. I didn't mean to go.
I think this is on another note, we discussed manus.im a few episodes back, right? Yeah. So have you all tried it? It's now open.
I haven't, but
is it food? What is it? What's manus.fm?
MANUIS.im. It's more agentic than anything else.
Oh, I see.
It almost, for example,
It's a
how
super
it fits into this conversation is yesterday I was trying to set up an appointment, and this also fits into what John said about SaaS products, right? I was trying to set up an appointment with LabCorp in June. So I had to do like the searching and everything. Like LabCorp didn't have a assistant that I could go and say like, hey, I need this. But I could go to Manus and say like, hey, I need an appointment with LabCorp, June 16th to 19th, between 7 and 8 a.m., 2 miles from this. And I think most of the AI engines are doing a good task. Did I replace another human being? Probably not. But did I save myself like 30 minutes? I probably did. So when we start finding these times, I don't know if it'll be like, hey, great, I finished my work in 4 hours. I'm going to go read a novel. I think it'll be more like, oh, you did your work. What about the rest of the 30 more things that we gave you to do? That's what corporations will do. So it might be better to be a small business owner and enjoy the free time you get.
You know what, Shashi? Even as a small business owner, or I just call myself a solo, I don't want to say solopreneur. I'm just a
High-end
solo-
analyst. High-end analyst.
If you want to say that, okay. We don't need any
need to
peanut
get
gallery talk. All right. So, there were things back before we had all this AI stuff at our disposal, like 3 or 4 years ago. There were certain things I wanted to do with video, but it was too laborious. It took too much time. Said no, I'm not even going to do it. Then we started getting this stuff, and I started saying, "Oh, this is pretty cool. Now I can do this." And then what I realized is, okay, now that I wanted to do this stuff, now I can do this stuff, and now that I have the ability to do this stuff, I need to do more because it's never ending. It's nothing is ever always automated, because I was able to not do it here, but now I could do it here. And then once I got here, I was like, oh my God, I need to go. So this stuff is constantly making me do more.
Yep.
Not always for the good. It's just all right, I was able to do this, but now I know I got to do that. So I think there's still, as a small business person, as a whatever, these things can make you work more than you ever thought you were going to work.
Sometimes, yep.
And so I think we're still grappling with the realities of some of this stuff. And I think maybe that is going to have some level of impact with how people use it, view it, whatever. So we're at the top of the hour. Man, we really beat that one up pretty good. Any parting thoughts about your perceptions about AI in the small business, and when do they really have to get their shit together, for lack of a better way of putting it? Whoever wants to go.
I'll just say that I think that, listen, entrepreneurship, being a small business owner, is always going to be split in two. There's the grit, the hustle, the persistence, the relationships, the networking, the waking up every day. That's one half that everybody has to do, no matter the technology. And I think that on the other half, let's just always keep your edge. Don't be on the bleeding edge. I don't think you have to be bleeding edge contextually to the time you're in, and do things first. But AI is no longer bleeding edge. It's here. It's a mature technology. And so I think in that aspect, every business owner should dabble, should play, should test, and then encourage your team to do these things as well. And those two together, as I just said, the mindset of entrepreneurship combined with the technology we all see happening, you do the best you can and provide for your family and live a good life. Shashi,
small
what's up?
business.
Talk to us. No, I didn't mean, I meant Shashi, talk to us after Leland.
If you're a small business owner, I'd say go in, try to find ways to take the tasks that are hard, difficult. I've seen people that are like, oh, I need a receptionist. Well, there's an AI for that. Finding ways to be able to cut the amount of work that you have down so that you can focus on your business or relax a little bit more. Take your hours that you work from 100 to 80. Yeah, that'd be that'd be nice. And if you're a worker, I would encourage you to actually learn AI in order to be able to utilize it as a way to show that you're still useful. It may come for your job. And if you say, well, I can actually use AI, I'm very good at it, and I can utilize it to maybe do the job of 2 or 3 people without killing myself, then you're a lot more valuable than the guy who didn't.
Tell whoever you want to go next, Leland. Who do you want to go next?
All right, we'll go with Shashi because Ramon set that up.
Yeah, I think there's never going to be a time in the world that people are going to say, no more progress. This is it. Live the exact same life you're living yesterday. So I think irrespective of whether you think about AI or otherwise, you have to constantly keep learning about what's new, what is the technology, what are the skills and knowledge that you need. And that will tell you where you need to invest your time and money in. I mean, why wouldn't you look at new technology that's going to make your life easier? And your business should not be the same thing that everybody else has, which I think is a good business practice to follow anyway. With that, over to you, John, because Ivana can have the last word.
Awesome. If you're a small business owner, there are repeatable tasks that you do all the time that are probably the bane of your existence as a business owner. I would single out one of those tasks and then try to find the solution for doing that task with an AI tool and just focus in on just learning to do that one thing. And from that, extrapolate. And that's going to really start saving you time, effort, money, and it will give you an understanding of the capabilities and with AI and how it can help you in your business.
Yep.
All right, you got to set her up. You got to no, you can't just.
I'm sorry. What?
You gotta give her props, man.
Well, good for him.
I haven't.
Please set up Ivana.
She's the Madam Mike Drop from Medina. She is doing DIY marketing. She is the one and only.
Oh,
even a tip.
Wow, I don't know how I can live up to that. It's getting really, really scary. It occurred to me that this entire conversation has made one huge assumption, and that is that leads, prospects, and customers are easily accessible. And I have not seen that with a lot of businesses. And while AI can possibly, we spent a lot of time talking about to improve tasks and become more productive, and all of this will do nothing for you if you don't have anyone to buy your stuff. And so I would encourage every small business to really look for the opportunities that are out there. We've had a whole conversation this past hour about opportunities that can be opened up. So if you're running a small business today and you're not being successful, you're not finding customers, I encourage you to take a step back and really look at what's happening, what trends are out there, and what new problems can you solve with your core skills and talents that maybe no one is identifying.
All right, you know what? I'm not going to give you a mic drop because I have a little addendum.
Okay.
Because I purposely don't talk about AI from a lead gen or that perspective, because I think a lot of people feel like it's some sort of magic tonic. All you need is AI and it'll do everything right. And a lot of people literally do think that, oh, if I use AI, I'm going to get me some more customers. I haven't seen that yet. I haven't seen anybody.
They're trying to tell you, if you look at your, I don't know, my Facebook feed, because of the nature of my browsing and what I do, is filled with silver bullet promises on how AI is going to create amazing Facebook ads that are going to generate $10,000 and $20,000 per month. How AI is going to turn your affiliate marketing into a revenue generating flood of dollars into your bank account. All of these things require a level of traffic, whether that is people coming to your store, whether that is people coming to your website and making a purchase. And that still requires a human connection. It requires your knowing who your customers are and understanding how they breathe. AI can help you brainstorm those things. I do that all the time, but only being out in the world will give you that answer and that opportunity.
Yeah. So that's why I don't talk about it, because like you said, everybody is trying to like get your attention with that hook. And I haven't seen a whole lot of people making money directly off of it. I've seen way more people get more proficient and productive and cut down costs on stuff, which is great. But I think a lot of people get taken in and hoodwinked by all that. Oh, AI can make you money. Don't believe the hype, folks. Not yet. Sound like Flavor Flav all of a sudden.
Unless you're John or Ramon.
No, unless. No, unless. Look, Ramon's already tried to sell me some kind of course now. What can you explain this, Ramon?
Yeah, Brent, it wasn't a course. What I'm taking is an AI course to be a doctor. It's only $5. I took the course. So I'm saying I want to be your doctor. It's AI powered. It requires, legally, I talked to the administration, and it requires a human has to be there while the AI is running. So I'm saying, Brent, I took the course. It's low cost. Next time you need surgery or teeth cleaning, anything you need, call me. My AI powered system will do it, and we're good.
Let me do
Should also
this.
say hi to Martin, who just joined this.
Martin,
Yay!
I think he had a birthday this week too.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Martin. And happy birthday to you.
The dulcet
Wow.
tones of
Ladies and gentlemen, Louis Cato.
Happy birthday, Martin.
By the way, is that some kind of transportation thing for you, Shashi? That you need?
Yeah. I'm actually going to Copenhagen and Croatia in July. So
very
we were
cool.
talking about that.
Very nice. All right, folks. Well, we've come to the end of this episode. Is this really an episode? Is this a show? I don't know what the hell this is. Anyway, we'll be back next Friday, because if it's Friday at noon Eastern, it's apparently Small Biz Breakdown. I feel good about that. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend, folks.
Thanks, everyone.